Alright guys, what I want to go over here is the new tuner mechanism that I've come up with for the B-benders. This is a 10/32 threaded rod right here, and it has a 3/32 Allen head wrench feeding in the top of it. And the whole idea behind this guy is to make it as where you can't see it as much as possible from the top of the guitar. As you know, the old tuner kind of stuck out and you could tune it and then you locked it down and all this and that. I wanted this one to be recessed where you can't see it from the front of the guitar. This thing is pretty simple. Really all it is you have the threaded rod, you have the trim piece here, and all this is for is basically just to pretty it up a little bit to where it's not just a hole with this threaded rod in it. And what I'm going to go over with you now is how to install this dude into your kit that you get from me. Okay, we're going to start with a 3/32 drill bit. Now I've got this set of drill bits right here. I got them from Lowe's. They're cheap. I think this is the Skill ones, and you don't need high dollar drill bits for this. I'm only using up to 1/4 of an inch too, so you don't have to get this big of a kit. So we're starting with 3/32. You can go with a smaller bit if you want to. I like the 3/32 because the 1/16 inch bit is kind of flimsy, so it can kind of float around in there, and it's not. I kind of wanted something more substantial than that, and you could probably use an 1/8 inch bit and be fine as well. But what I want to do is I've got this guy set up. All I've done here is I've got my guitar sitting on. This is something that I built just so I could basically do these processes without having to take the strings and everything off the guitar and the neck and all that stuff, and just kind of sits there and I don't have to do anything. But I've basically built this side up to where it's holding the drill bit to where it is centered up on the center line of the guitar. So it's right in this area right here. Now one thing I want to do is I don't want to drill it to like this right here at an angle, because what's going to happen is when this dude comes up, it's going to hit the actual tuner at an angle. So the tuner will be sitting here like this, and it'll be hitting the corner of it instead of kind of more flush. So what I want to do is I want to put this dude where I think it's going to be when it's engaged, and then I'm going to try to square my bit to go perpendicular to it from the outside. So I want to go right around in here somewhere, and I just want to make sure that it's going to hit this at more of a flat angle instead of it trying to hit on the side of the tuner. So I want it to be more along this line. I've got this set up. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to put this about where I think it's going to be when it's fully engaged, and I'm going to try to get my bit to be perpendicular with that. So I'm going to say about right in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the drill, and then I'm going to pull the guitar into the drill bit and try to get it to go as straight as possible. Okay, so I made it through. I don't know if you can see it or not, but our hole is right there, and it's obviously going to hit our mechanism. Now the next step we're going to do is we're going to use that as our pilot hole to drill for our trim piece, which is this guy right here. This dude is 3/8 of an inch. So what I want to do is I want to get my 1/4 inch drill bit. Now this thing is wider than a 1/4 inch. It's more like, as you can see there, it's 17/64, and it's just right above. I tried to go a little bit smaller of a bit to install this, and it would not fit in the hole. So you pretty much have to use a 1/4 inch bit. So I've got my 1/4 inch bit. I'm going to mark down it with a piece of tape, 3/8 of an inch. I might go a little bit more just so it'll kind of sit inset. This top is curved, so it's not flat. In order for the whole assembly to go in, you might have to go just a little bit deeper. So there's 3/8. I'm gonna go just a little bit deeper. Maybe like 7/16. Now I'm gonna put it on here. I'm gonna try to tape this guy just to kind of mark that spot, like so. So our first bit was a 3/32. Second bit is going to be 1/4 inch. So I've got my 1/4 inch bit here now. And pretty much this dude's going to align itself, hopefully, if all works out. But I'm going to take this dude and we're going to drill this out. Now you can step bit this too. You can go, instead of just going straight to the 1/4, and it might be a better idea to do it that way. You can, go to, say, a 13/64 and then go up to 1/4 inch to this point. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this dude. And I've drilled that hole out now to that there. Hoping you can see that. So the next item of the business is we're going to drill the rest of the hole out to 11/64. So here is my 11/64 bit. And this is what we're going to use to drill out to where this guy can go in. Now all I'm going to do here is the exact same thing. I'm just going to put it into the hole. And then I'm going to just drill this dude I'm just going to basically wallow that hole out. Just let the drill bit grab it. So now we have our hole drilled all the way through, and it should look something like that. Alright, the next process is going to be to install this dude. And it goes in like that. And you can put it in that way, but you're going to see the cut pieces on the top. So I'll use it like that so the trim piece is there. And it's just going to slide into this hole. You can put it in however you want to. I'm going to try to use just something like this to kind of press it. If it doesn't go all the way in, you can take something like this and then press it the rest of the way in. So now it looks something like that. All right. Next part's pretty simple, although it is kind of wears your arm out. What we're going to do is we're going to take our bit here. We're going to install it into our sleeve, our trim piece. And basically we're going to be using the threads from this to thread out the wood all the way through. It's very important because this guy, you want this thing to be as tight as possible. You can use some soap or something if you want to. Okay, so as you can see there, that part's done. So basically got the dude installed now. I have my throw that I want for this dude. Now one thing to consider is if you want a really long throw, you're going to want your part here and this groove here where the spring is on this one. And then you're going to want the other one right here on this top one for the longest throw. If you move it down here to the bottom, it'll be a little bit shorter. The only thing to be aware of is that if you do want a really long throw, you will have to make this hole bigger than I have. You might not be able to tell it very well here. Maybe I'll see it better right here. But as you can tell, right there, my cavity, my hole doesn't go all the way to the top of my cavity. So I could groove that out some more to where I'd have a little bit longer throw. But this is about where I like it at anyway, so that's where I'm going to put it at. Now, that being said, I am working on a mechanism to have this spring where it can be tensioned in the back right here. I just literally haven't had time to do that. And I've also got these springs now, which are a lot bigger than the tremolo springs that I sell with my kits. I haven't put these on there yet, but I plan to in the future. When I do, they'll be on my website where you can buy one if you want to. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to size this tuner that we built here. Anyway, I'm going to do that. Also, these kits come with felt. I've got felt underneath the knob there, and I've got a piece on the top to where this tuner can stop on it. The old tuners had a little plastic piece that went on top of it. The only problem with those is the way I have to thread this guy in here. You don't have enough room for that piece, so instead of doing that, I just put that on top of it to where it just deadens it, where it doesn't tick when it hits. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've got my calipers zeroed out here. I'm just going to measure what I have right here. I've got 1/2 inch. And now I've got it tuned, so I've already taken it off and I've got it tuned to where I want it. I'm going a whole step with this one right now. So that is tuned a whole step. And I've got a 1/2 inch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add probably to a 9/16. So I'm going to cut 9/16 off of the bottom of my threaded rod here. Okay, so I've got my piece out. There is the side that has the hole in it. So I'm going to take the 9/16 off the back side of it right here. So I basically cut this guy here. I cut the 9/16 off the back of it. I used a lathe to clean this up. If you don't have a lathe, you can use sandpaper and then a die set that can rethread this if you have to. You just want to clean this up. A belt sander, or not belt sander, but a bench sander or something like that will do just as good. And you can go back with your die set and redo the threads if you have to. So I want to install this dude back in. Okay, so it's back in now. As you can tell, it is flush mount to the top. And I'm going to tune it up right quick. Normally to tune the B, you go to the 4th fret on the G string, and you tune that. So it'd be, but to do the whole step, you would go here, and then you so I'm going to the 6th fret instead of the 4th. Is that whatever you decide on your throw, if you do go back and eventually change that, it might adjust this to where it has to go in a little further or out a little more, depending on what you want to do. If you want to go for the really long throw, this is probably going to stick out and you might have to readjust the length of that. But this guy, like I said, it can go all the way into that hole as far as it needs to set, but from the front of the guitar you can't see it, and that's what I was going for. If you haven't seen it before, this is the first ever Shoals custom bender guitar that I built. Alright, so now that all that's done, basically all I gotta do is I've got to size this thing here, put a strap on it. I do need to add a strap button for the back, and then this thing will be bending strings. Just to recap what we did. We installed this guy here. I went over how to install this new way I'm doing the lower arm is what I call this. This is the upper arm. And then talking about the throws and things like that. It's just something you're going to have to get and play around with. If you want a really long throw, this one isn't very long at all. But you can have a longer one by moving these guys around to different spots. You can take this one over to the top, this one all the way to the top, and you'll get a really long throw, enough so that it doesn't feel odd to have to cut this out to get that much of a throw on it. And you can move these guys around and get different ones. Once you get that set, you can leave this guy out while you're messing around with that and getting it tuned where you like it and see which kind of throw you like. Once you get the one you want, you can take this dude and measure it and cut it like I just did just a second ago, and size it to fit to where you will not see it from the front of the guitar. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, leave them below. If you liked the video, give me a like. If you liked it, please subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys.